Author's Vlog Supplemental 45.5. So things have been really busy, as I said they would be, and I got a lot to go through really fast. I'm going to try to do this so I don't need to edit because I haven't got time. Episode 43, we talked about publishing, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. You know, Shivam and I are on the self-publishing side, and a very simple reason for that is we're willing to do our own marketing, we're willing to do a lot of our own editing, we're willing to do that and not be in stores. Because even with traditional publishing, yes, they'll give you a developmental editor, yes, they'll help you with a lot of things, they're really not going to do a lot of marketing for you. So that's something you need to keep in mind. If you're willing to do some marketing on your own, self-publishing or traditional publishing is open to you, but understand you're going to be doing marketing for your own work either way. If you want to market, you're going to have to do it yourself, because the publishers are only going to spend, especially if you're a brand new author, unless they think you are awesome, like you are the next Harry Potter or J.K. Rowling, they're not going to do a lot of marketing for you. They'll do a little bit. They'll get you in some stores, but even then it's not guaranteed that you're going to be in all stores. You might not even be in your local store if it's not big enough. You might have to go to the local store yourself and sell your book to them so that they order your book to have in their stores, because the publisher might not be pushing that. The publishers basically send this book to bookstores and booksellers that has a little bit of information on the books that they have there are coming up for availability, and based on the information the publishers give to the bookstores order a certain number of books based on what sells in their store and things like that. Unless it's a bestseller, they don't really push new authors. They kind of throw new authors out there and see what happens and see how many books are ordered and how well it sells. So you kind of have to do a lot of your own marketing. So keep that in mind as well. Traditional publishing is very difficult. The amount that they're going to give you in help is becoming less important day by day as self-publishing breaks into that monopoly more and more. Developmental editors are becoming more available online, more information is becoming available. Like we talked about, book covers, that's becoming very readily available for self-publishers. There's a whole market that's springing up to cater to self-publishing to make it better for everybody. So how much the traditional publishers will do for you is becoming less and less on a daily basis. Doesn't mean don't do traditional publishing. That might be what you want to do. What genre you're in also makes a big difference. If you're doing children's books or literature or poetry or things like that, you probably want to do traditional publishing, because self-publishing, 5-year-olds don't go on Amazon and buy books to read on their Kindle. That's usually not something that they do. So you're still marketing towards the parents, and it's still going to be mostly an actual book that grandparents or parents will buy for their grandchildren and children. There are certain genres that sell better brick and mortar or through traditional publishing than they do through self-publishing. So do a little bit of research about what genre you have. If you're a very popular genre, romance, science fiction, urban fantasy, fantasy, things like that, depending on your subgenre, probably you're going to want to do e-publishing and then add traditional publishing to it. Decluttering. We talked a lot about filter words. Those are the words that add a filter between you and the character. She felt, she smelled, he tasted. I don't want it to sound like we were saying don't ever use them, because as you probably know from this series, I am very much against saying, no, you can't have that tool in your toolbox. I think all tools belong in the writer's toolbox. Filter words are a tool. Much like show versus tell, it's not so much one and or the other, it's what balance you want to establish. So using filter words, you should know what effect that has. Much like tell, it tends to make things faster and more direct. There's less interpretation on the reader's part about what the author means when you use filter words. Instead of saying, the wind blew, she pulled the coat tighter and tucked her head in, and leaned into the wind, that's not a filter. You're not knowing exactly what she's reacting to. You're guessing based on the information given. Okay, it's probably windy, so she's probably cold and she doesn't want the wind to hit her. Okay, that makes sense. She's probably cold. Instead of just saying she felt cold, she felt the cold wind hitting her face and pulled it. Yes, it adds a little bit of a separation, but it also makes it less interpretive. It gives the author a bit more control over how the readers are interpreting the information. Sometimes that matters. Sometimes you really need the readers to understand a certain point, that this was a sensation of this kind. Sometimes that's a clue to what's going on. Sometimes it's expedience. Just before you use it or when you're using it, always know why. Always do it deliberately with intention and understanding of the effect. So it's not a don't use them, it's a know why you're using them. Title and cover. I touched on this a little bit in the blurb. Don't lie on your cover. Don't lie. Don't say you're a best-selling author. Don't say it's the next big thing. Don't make false quotes. Don't do any of that crap. In fact, the less clutter on your cover, the better. Because remember, you want people to see tiny little thing, just a little bitty tiny picture. So I've seen people lie. Don't lie. Just don't even go down that road. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't fact check this, but it's getting to the point where I can read a blurb on BookBub and know, yeah, no, you are not a best-selling author. I know you. This is not New York Times best-selling. It's just not. You're brand new. This is your first book. It's not. So don't ever undermine your own credibility by lying. As far as putting quotes on your book, crap, I'm going to have to make another. Hold, please. If for some reason you're going to print out a bunch of copies of your book, say you're going to go to Worldcon and you're going to hand them out to people, you know, it's been published on Amazon for 6 months and you want to print it out and try to put it in actual hands, that's great. Don't just take good reviews, quotes from good reviews, and stick them on your book. Don't do that on your Amazon page. Don't do that on your thing unless you've explicitly asked them for permission. Just don't. I know it's like in the public domain and anybody can go read the reviews, and that's fine. But just like if there's a person just walking down the street in public and you take their picture and slap them in the newspaper, you need to get their permission before you do that. For example, I printed out for Schwab's birthday a couple of years ago about, I don't know, 15, 20 copies of his first book. It's huge, isn't it? It's really big. And I took some of the reviews from the back on his Amazon and put them on the back. Because this is not going anywhere. We're not giving this to publishers. This is literally my parents have a copy, his parents have a copy, we have some copies, and some of our friends have copies, and that is it. This is not published. We are not handing this out. So we didn't have to get permission from these people to, you know, put this on the back, because this is not for public consumption. This is literally just personal copies for our own vanity because it was a gift. And I totally messed up on the formatting, but we'll get to that. So don't do that. Even though you can, there are some places called, I think, Gutenberg presses, which is where I got this done in Boston. And you take it in, you just give them the file, and when they can, they have specifications and everything, they print it out. I think it was like $15 a book or something, and then you go pick them up, which is really cool. And it could be, why are you... This clock doesn't know what time it is. Oh my gosh, and my phone's going off. Fantastic. So don't lie, don't steal quotes, don't do that on your cover or your back or your blurb or anything. Be above board at all time, keep your author credibility high. Blurb, don't really have much to say about blurb. That was a pretty good episode. We were pretty succinct on that. I am currently at about chapter 21 of, plotting it out now, I think 27 chapters. And it's the 20th of November. I don't have a lot of time left, and I have to pretty much write from scratch seven chapters. It's gonna be great. That's 20,000 words in like 2 weeks. It's gonna be awesome. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty happy with the beginning so far. I'm going to give it to a couple of beta/gamma readers as soon as I actually finish it, which is probably going to be a couple of weeks into December because of how much time it took me to fix the climax. But I am still working on it. I'm about a third of the way through chapter 21. I really need to spend some time today just rough outlining each chapter so I can actually go through it much faster. So that's kind of what I need to do right now. So still working. Happy Thanksgiving, because we won't see you again until the weekend, so stay safe on Black Friday, because people like to trample other people. And I will see you all guys. I will see all you guys next week when you're all super bloated with turkey and have had too much pumpkin pie. So until then, get blurbing.blurb, and of course email us at heygetwriting.wang, and get editing and writing and blurbing and all the other things that you have to do by the end of the year. Good luck.